Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chris Hensley. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today. We have with us Pamela Dale, who is the renowned as the GHL Gal, which we're going to find out what that is in just a moment here. She is a digital marketing expert and official high-level partner with over a decade of experience in teaching, training, and coaching entrepreneurs. Pamela excels in helping businesses achieve sustainable success. She also hosts the Level Up Show, which is a podcast dedicated to guiding listeners through the complexities of online business and marketing, emphasizing the power of software and reoccurring revenue. Whew, that's a lot. Pamela, thank you so much for being on the show today.
You betcha. You got through that really well. It was a mouthful.
I'm gonna take a breather now. No, well, good. Let me set this up for the listeners here because I think the way that we met was pretty neat. There, we were both on a show that is put out by Josh Thomas. Now he's out of Austin, so he's also a Texan, but he's in Austin. I'm here in Houston. And he has this show that he's been putting together where he invites business owners, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, influencers onto the show. Usually has about 4 people on there, and he calls it BYOB lunch. And so the idea is that you show up at lunchtime. And this is where I met Pamela. She was also on that panel. I guess we would call it like a virtual panel, and just a great conversation about email marketing. And then there was some synergy there, so we reached out to each other. And I'm going to sneak peek and tell people to make sure to join in on your show, the Level Up Show, I'm going to be a guest on your show on Thursday. So I encourage anybody who gets to listen to today's episode to tune in to that one. But Pam, again, thank you for being on the show.
Was so grateful to be here. And isn't that really so exciting when you put yourself out in business and you're out talking to people, and that's where you start to build these relationships and talking to people. And 99% of the time, we're one conversation away from everything that we need in life. And if we can get out in front of people and talk to different people, and I was fascinated by what you did and your level of expertise, and I love the way you spoke. I was like, I want to know Chris better. And I'm really excited about our call on Thursday. We're going to get up to things. So join us there.
As am I. Well, let's dive right into it. What inspired you to start the Level Up Show, and how do you select your topics and your guests for the podcast?
Such a great question. The show actually started out as the Softwarepreneur Show, and I was interviewing people about software and things. And there was one pivotal moment, episode number 11. We weren't very old, and I asked a very dear friend of mine who I currently help coach some of her students, and said, would you love to be on the show? And she absolutely, and she's the most loving, vulnerable person. And that call turned into a real conversation about why she's a multimillionaire and I am not. And it was, she didn't quit.
Nice.
She didn't pivot 13 times like you and I will do. And I say you, I mean maybe some of the listeners, not necessarily Chris. And
No, me as well.
ideas, right? And I call them cutting, baffling, and powerful. They're just, whoa, they'll pull us off and we're ping pong around. And all of a sudden, we're not where we wanted to be. And she was the opposite. She had the staying power. She stayed. And I thought, this is what I really want to talk about. I want to talk about what's really going on, because I've seen Julie cry. I've cried, but nobody's talking about the crying that they're doing in this journey. And I think as a result, it sets us up as business owners with expectations that we're trying to meet. And when we can't, we are not going to win in business. And this business will fund our lives. It'll fund our dreams, and it needs to win. It needs to work. So that's the story on that.
I love it. I love it. And another thing I shared with you, I think this was offline, not on the BYOB lunch, but we talked kind of separately from that. And the software that you work with, that high level, that has gotten onto my radar lately. And so we'll definitely talk about that and kind of dive into that. As a marketer, some of the things that that's being used for, it's kind of one of these happy accidents where I hear multiple people telling me about it, and then I find somebody who's very knowledgeable on it. So we can talk about that as well. But let's start with, can you share maybe a pivotal moment in your career that led you to specialize in digital marketing and SaaS, and maybe explain a little bit about what that is for listeners who may not know?
Sure, absolutely. So I started out on this journey wanting to be a coach and loved coaching, loved that I could change some lives. I wanted to change my own life first. So that's usually why coaches start doing what they're doing. And I came up against that same barrier that we all come up against. I couldn't get a client for my life. So, well, it must be the coaching. It couldn't possibly be me. So let's go through the other thing that I'm really good at, because I did pivot 14 times and have 14 different logos and websites and funnels. I knew how to do the tech stuff. So let's jump over there, right? And
Yes, yeah.
I hit the same wall. I couldn't get a client for my life, but I had dilly-dallied and mucked around enough that financially I could no longer, guilt-wise, all of the psychological trauma of not being able to build this thing and my husband working and me not making any money, just spending money. There was a D-Day. There was a day where it had to become a business or not. And it was go get a job. And I was, again, at that pivotal moment, ran into somebody on the interwebs, changed the direction of my life by telling me, just go get a client, just go talk to somebody. Right? So stop putting
Nice.
funnels, stop putting websites,
Yeah.
stop putting your logo, stop putting all these things in front of you. Just go talk to people and be of service. So that was the pivotal moment when I realized I actually could be so scared, but do it anyway,
I
because I was
love it.
so scared. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And you took that, that was some of the things that you mentioned earlier, was about, not pivoting and then having, but also, pivoting for like 13 times, and
Right.
then here finding somebody who said, just keep at it. And then the second person that you came in and said, just go out and get a client, right? And kind of that realization that it's business or it's not a business, right? And kind of having to make some of those decisions there. um, let's talk a little bit about that experience that you have as a teacher and a coach. How has that influenced your approach to podcasting and then in business consulting in general?
Just had a beautiful call with an affiliate of mine. So interesting to watch business owners. I would say we've got a backpack on. We're always carrying a backpack, right? It's lovely and it's packed with BS. It's
Yeah.
packed with our stories. It's packed with all of the things. And when I'm out here and I need to go talk to a client or go forward in my business and follow through on what the things I need to do to build this business, I will pull something out of the backpack, AKA a story, and throw it on my own path. So sometimes software doesn't work. So this lady was, well, I can't bring clients on if the software doesn't work. I was like, okay, legit. But what do we do as a result of that? Like, what do we do with that information? Right?
Right.
Software, when it's in development, it's either in development or it's not. If you've got software and it's working all the time, it means it's outdated. If it's developing, it's going to be updating. It's going to do that. So knowing that, we need to be personally responsible. We have that knowledge. Don't try to do everything on Sunday night just in case it goes down. Plan your business better, right? So it's a personal responsibility piece. So this backpack that we carry around, my dad used to always say, there's 2 miles of ditch for every mile of road. And a business owner can get in the ditch really fast. And it's all story. The facts of what's really going on. We attach a story to it, AKA a thought, and we're off and we have a feeling about that. Then we make a decision, action to take or not take as a result of that, when it was just a circumstance of the software didn't load. Oh, it's glitchy. Oh my God, I can't put my clients on that. I would feel embarrassed. So then I don't take action. But it was just a thought. So I help them work through those things because we're smart. Everyone that gets into this game is smart. You don't try it if you're not. So then it's what's really in the way. I'm telling you, it's not the logo that's on revision 73.
I love it. I love it. These are some of the things that pop to mind there. Even before I got on this call, my router started giving me problems, right? So
Oh,
and so just getting on before and making sure everything was good. By the time we got on here, everything was good.
yeah,
But that is the world we live in with technology, right? So it's kind of
yeah.
that's baked into the cake already. But being, I imagine if you're in SaaS and this is the product and what you lead with, this is important for to shape how you're discussing it with people and for you to share that or to coach your affiliates on how to talk to them about that is
Mhm.
strong. I love the backpack, the stories. That is very true, very true. Let's pivot a little bit more because I'm very interested in this software. Or I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly. If it's a
Right.
software or SaaS. Tell me a little bit about high level the platform or it looks like a marketing agency. Tell for people who aren't aware of that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So SaaS stands for software as a service. So the way that I really started to understand it, because I'm a little bit older, right? Do you remember when we wanted Microsoft Office and we would get the Word and the Excel, etc.? It came in a box. Yes?
Right.
You had a
Yeah. Yep.
disk, you put her in the computer and you got software. Oh, you could use it, right? You needed an internet connection and you were laughing. Today, software doesn't come in a box anymore. You just log into it,
Right.
right?
Right.
And businesses now have the ability to create their own software. You could be a Microsoft company. You could white label somebody else's software, just like when you go to Amazon and you buy soap, someone else made the soap. You just put your logo on the soap, right? You have many products in your home that are white labeled, and software is an excellent opportunity for businesses because it's monthly recurring revenue. When you have your Zoom account, say for example, or you're using ConvertKit, you're paying them every month for that software, whether you use it or not. You've got your list in there. The odds are good you're going to pay that bill every month. For a business to have software, that's going to save your bum. Why? We're talking cash flow. Number one. The second reason it saves your bum is because you have to come up with the next offer, the next offer, the next offer, the next offer. Then you don't get off that next offer. It's a treadmill, right? Or a different way to sell the same thing. But when I sell you software this month, you're going to use it next month. I don't have to sell you again because the
Right.
churn rate for clients is 100%. Churn rate for software is one single digits, 5%. So you don't have a hole in your bucket. And as a business coach, as a coach in general, you're recommending other software all day long. You're saying, okay, what calendar are you using, right? I was going to say, whoa, this is really great software that we're using for this meeting today. Tell me more about that. Imagine if it was your software. Instead of you referring them to GoToMeeting and then referring them over to Alignable and then referring them over to Trello and then referring them over to ConvertKit and referring them over to Kartra. What if you could refer them to your own software? And then what if in that software you could deliver and help support all of the processes that you teach them how to do? You teach them how to do lead magnets, you teach them how to do podcasts with a funnel. What if you could drop that into somebody's account and help them manage it? How valuable would that be? How can it elevate your brand as a coach if you're logging into your own software? Your clients are logging into your own software. So it's got a lot of bonuses, pluses to it, right? And it will save a business today with regards to cash flow. That's the biggest branding, how to differentiate yourself, and the cash flow issue.
Wow, so they're just these light bulbs are going off here. So I have to put guardrails on myself because the way I think is
Yeah,
I will backward engineer stuff and kind of how the high level stuff got on my radar is I've been uh, going down a rabbit hole with AI lately, right? And one of
yes,
the things everybody's trying to sell you the chat bots. Do we need them? I don't know, but but that's the big
right.
thing. And so I met with a couple of guys and did some due diligence on them. And what I realized is they were priced differently. And then what they were giving me was something that was relabeled from high level, where they have gone and white labeled it. And so that's how it first got on my radar. And then when I looked at it, I said, okay, this isn't just the chat bots. This is another software I use is Webinar Kit, and I think that's actually part of that as well, but where somebody's carved it off, right? But it looks like entire, if I was a marketing agency, which I'm not, but if I was, it looks very robust. And so this is neat to have you on the show right around the time that I've been kind of doing due diligence on this stuff. The other thing that you just mentioned, you talked about cash flow, branding as a business, the whole idea of SaaS as a really as a business in a box, right? The idea that you've got a whole business model just based off of this one platform is pretty cool and pretty unique there. What else can you tell us about that? And I'm thinking of listeners here. So I'm a business owner, and I don't particularly want to be my own marketing agency. We're doing certain things that we can kind of carve off. But if you are a business owner, what else can you share with us where this would be something that would be a benefit to us?
So you could be a SaaS business owner and offer it to your users. You can also just be a user yourself. So you could get your own little account, right? With high level, you go right to high level, or you could go to a
Right.
white labeled agency, depending on if you like the person, right? And get off the 10 pieces of software that you're currently using. You're going to be
Right.
overpaying for. You are missing data as a business owner. You've got contacts in Calendly. You've got contacts over here in your funnel. And you don't know how many appointments they've had. You don't see the communication because it's coming from someplace else. You don't know if they've opened the email for the appointment confirmation because it's over in Calendly. So you're missing essential data to move your business forward. And the data you're missing is who are your most engaged customers and clients that you could make the next offer to, because segmentation is really important. Are you able to market to everybody? Yes, but should you? Absolutely not. It's important to segment people out. It's important to understand the state of your business, and you can't if you don't have the data.
I love it. I love
So as
it.
a business
So
owner, you need the software as a business owner.
for sure. And, I've been, just personally with my own business, one of the goals that we have this quarter is that we've been doing a lot with automation, and we've been going, through our tech stack and looking at things that there's repetition on. And so anything where you can get multiple things in one piece and kind of do away with stuff that you've siloed off is a thing that should be on your radar as a business owner, right? Calendly was one. I use Calendly all the time, but if it's integrated in something, you always, and the neat thing is what you mentioned earlier is that it's in development, so these things get updated as you go, right? Very cool, very cool.
I didn't touch
So let
automations. So that's a really great
Yep,
piece.
yep.
We're doing way too much manually in our business, and high level's got automations for everything. So if somebody sends you a
Wow,
Facebook message, you can have an automation reply. We'll get right back to you.
wow.
You can have an automation go out that when somebody clicks on a link anywhere, you can say, excellent, I saw you've clicked on that. Or maybe you don't send it to them, but you send it to yourself saying, so-and-so's clicked on this. And
So
I
I'm
can,
taking notes as we're talking here. I'm taking
so
notes
it's
because this is this
powerful.
is this is fantastic information. And the cool thing about automation is some business owners might be familiar with like Zapier and setting up rules. And this is even like when you go into your Outlook and you're setting up forwards on emails. It's kind of the basic idea. But the
Right.
neat thing is a lot of this stuff you just have to do once, and once you've done it, it's on autopilot for you. So really, really cool ideas there. How do you, I'm going to switch a little bit on you here. How do you balance the technical aspects of running an online business with the creative side of marketing and content creation?
That's such a great question. The first word that jumped in my head was data.
Mhm.
So tech is great. We don't use the tech appropriately, I think, and that is to gather the information that you need to make the right marketing decisions for your business. We think we know what people want when we really don't, because we're just shooting like, at a, I missed the metaphor, but
From
you know what I'm saying.
from the hip, yep.
Yeah, we're just like shooting at something and it's just like a shotgun effect and it's just
Right.
everywhere. We've got to become laser focused today in our marketing, and we need that information. So the tech stack is going to help you do that. It's going to lower your costs as well, because high level is not on this many users, you get charged more. This many contacts, you get charged more. This many domains, you get charged more. This many funnels, you get charged more. It's not that model. So it's going to be more cost effective for you. And all decisions need to come from the avatar or the person. And if you do not know what your people are actually clicking on and interested in, marketing becomes very challenging and it takes us out of the game.
That's huge. What you just touched upon, the idea of the avatar, the idea of that buyer persona, the idea of knowing who you're servicing as a business owner. And, we have the tools out there in the data, but we're doing a really bad job of actually going back and looking at it. And we need to have that laser focus that you just talked about, really staying true to focus and knowing who we are serving there. One more question for you here. What challenges do women entrepreneurs face in the tech industry, and how can they be overcome?
We're not even clear we belong in the space.
Mm-hmm.
My first thought when somebody said to me, you could build a white labeled agency, this is white labeled, you can build a SaaS business. Do you know what my first thought was?
What's that?
I'm not an old white man. That's who I see in tech. That's who I see in Wall Street. That's who I see everywhere. It's not me. I didn't know I fit in the space. So I'm here to say you absolutamente belong in the space. In fact, I believe we belong in the space more because we're going to make a difference with it. It's not going to just be money based. It needs to be money based. You need the money, but we will serve with it and go and help more businesses make more money. I believe we belong in the space.
I love it. I love it. And then we're bumping towards the end of the show. We've got about 7 minutes left here, so I'm don't want to give you too big of a question because I feel like we can just keep going for an hour here, but we are a half hour. So, what role do you think podcasts play in the entrepreneurial ecosystem, especially for business owners who are really just getting started?
It's such a great question. And I think it's a really great reason to meet really cool people. I got to meet you through the podcast. And then we have a podcast. And then who knows? Bob over here. Oh, you know what? I talked to this real amazing woman. Her name's Pamela. Maybe connect you. And it doesn't even matter if it comes back because I know how the universe works. If I'm out here and I'm talking to people, it is a push and shove. It's a go forward. It flows. It's all 50-50. And I'm going to just flood the universe with as much possible value as I can. And it comes back every single time, but only 100% of the time.
I love it. I love it.
It's inevitable.
I think we're always surprised with those connections and how eventually stuff comes back. It's really neat how that tends to work out. Can you share insights into a successful strategy or maybe a campaign that you've implemented for a client that exemplifies your approach to digital marketing?
That's a great question. It's always go talk to people.
Yes. Yeah.
It's always go talk to people. Whether you get in front of one or you get in front of 20 or you get in front of 1,000. Get out of your own house. And that could be in your head. It could be physically get out to a meeting like a chamber of commerce or a networking meeting or a big event and go and talk to people. Because in that, you'll get the language you need to understand the problem that you're trying to solve in the language that they need to hear it when you go out there. A lot of us are trying to put a course or a membership or something together and put it out front and it doesn't land. So we think it doesn't work, but we haven't done the work. You can build a multi-million-dollar business just talking to people one-on-one. You don't need all the fancy stuff. Just go talk to people. Because that will bring up the conversation in your head, the thoughts you have in your head, and those are what you really need to deal with. That's what The moment you can go out and talk to 3 people, I know you're going to build $1 million business. But if
I
you won't
love
talk to
it.
the first 3, and they won't because I don't know where to find them, I don't know what to say. You can hear it, you can hear it, you hear it. You got to go talk to people.
I love it. It is a contact game, right?
Yeah,
And we tend to have to be reminded of that. These are the fundamentals. These are the things. Get out of the office. Get out of the house, right? Whether it's a physical office or the office
yeah,
in your head. I know
right.
post pandemic, we've got so much stuff going on online that people aren't out shaking hands and networking and that kind of stuff. And what you told us was that the language that we'll often find to solve these problems or to get us where we need to be is out there when we're meeting people and shaking hands, or whether it's virtually or in person, but
Right.
getting out there and doing the work. What a great thing to pass on to people here. We're bumping right towards the end of the show. This was the quickest 30 minutes ever here. We're going to hit pause on this, and we will continue the conversation on Thursday. But before I let you go here, what have I forgot to ask you that you'd like to share with listeners today?
I think it's great things happen when women have money.
That's a good one. Great
A
things
lot of
happen
women,
when women have money.
a lot of women say they don't want the money, but they need the money. And the number one demographic of people that benefits the most is men.
I love it.
Yes, if you flip it, like if
Yeah,
we were financially okay, we chose you because we just wanted to be with you versus some of the relationship dynamics in business and otherwise, right? If we were more independent, if we had the ability to take our gifts, skills, and talents and make money and fulfill on our lives, the whole world would be a better place because we'll take the money home to our kids.
very true. Very true. What a good place to leave today. And then for listeners who would like to find out more, if you're driving right now, you don't have to stop and write it down because it's going to be on the podcast notes. We're going to put a link to all of your contact information there. But what is the best place for people to find out more about you?
So your GHL for go high level, your GHLgal.com.
Yourghl.com. Perfect.
Your
Okay, great.
GHL gal. So I'm a
Gal. I
farm
left
girl.
the gal part,
I'm just a
and I
gal.
should
I'm
know
not.
that because
Yeah.
that's part of the what you're known as, the GHL gal. Well, perfect. Pam, thank you so much for being on the show today. Have a
Such a
good
pleasure.
rest of the day there.
You as well. Take care. Thanks for your time. So much fun.